One. Let's let him get in here, Coach. This is a huge interview, Coach. Not often that we get a professional football head coach on HBCU Coaches Corner, man.
Well, you know, we always got to take the opportunity, man, to make sure that we identify our HBCU superstars, man. So it's really important that we get that information out there.
We're gonna give him about another 30 seconds. Let him jump on in here. See him getting in.
Yeah, I guarantee you, man. A lot of people don't even know, that this young man is being a head coach of a professional football team.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, you see, I got my background on it.
Yeah. You got it. You got him today, Coach. You got it. Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coaches Corner. I'm your host, Rocky Miller. And we usually have our trusty sidekick by Mr. Stephen Campbell. He's gonna be late. He's probably handling some FAMU business as he always is. But with no further ado, I do have our featured host. The reason why this is called the HBCU Coaches Corner, none other than the SWAC legend himself, Johnnie Cole.
What's up, Coach, man? Another Tuesday rolling around and good things are happening. And, our guest on tonight is one that I follow his career, and he kind of came behind me as a coach. As a player at Tennessee State, the year that I left, he came in after that. And that's why I got this sign up. It's the Hobo offense, high operated, big play offense. And he actually played under it. Once I left, they kept the system in place, man. And he put up some numbers, Coach. He put the numbers up. I had a 3,000-yard passer. He came in and went for 3,100 and something. So he ended up breaking one of the records that we had there at Tennessee State. But he's went on to, be an outstanding coach, and also as a quarterback coach from Alabama State to Hampton to Virginia, and now he's the head coach of one of the XFL teams, rightfully so. He has his own private training as well, and we'll get into that as well. I would like to welcome and bring on DC Defender head coach Shannon Harris. Well, Coach, I'd like to thank you, man. I know you guys are right at the tail end of your season. You just came off of one of those games that you could give away because you guys had clinched the playoff in game 8. So in game 9, you guys kind of tried to find some players because you already have clinched the playoff berth. And I want to thank you for taking your time out to come out, man. I've watched your career and I've seen your ups and your downs, which ain't been long. Even your downs were good. I think at one time you was the interim coach at Virginia State, trying to see what's going on after you came out with Coach Reggie Barlow, and boom, you jumped into the XFL, and boom, you a head coach, man. I mean, you've been moving so much, Coach. Look forward to us talking to you and letting the fan base get to know that we do from HBCU school have a professional head football coach.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it, Coach, and definitely appreciate the opportunity to get on with you guys, man. And like you said, yeah, the career path has been pretty long, and it's been an enjoyable career throughout my coaching career. And now, having the opportunity to be behind Coach Barlow and falling into being the head coach with DC right now in the UFL has been amazing for sure. And like you said too, with once we clinched the playoffs, we had a plan going into week 9 that we wanted to get some guys out there to be able to see what they can do, including our backup quarterback. We wanted to get him a lot of reps. He'll start this weekend as well, and get some more time out there because you never know when you may need him. And rest up Jordan Tamu, our starter. So try to protect him a little bit as well. All these guys have been banged up. You know how it is, man. It's a long season, and then especially in pro ball, you have there's a lot of hitting and going on like that. So these guys get after a good bit, but outside of that, man, defensive side of the ball, we want to rest some guys as well this week, and then and a few more of the guys that we have on offense. So put those guys out there, let them see what they can do, show their stuff, and create some more value for themselves.
I know we don't have you long, Coach, but I got to go back because the show, it's about you being the head coaches, but I got to take you back. That's why I put my you know that up there, don't you, Coach?
Yeah, I see it.
And, man, I heard, during the time, of course, we left, and then we came back and actually played you guys. Man, you done a hell of a job at Tennessee State as a quarterback. Kind of tell us that. How did you get there? And of course, you went on and broke Leon's record in one season. Well, seasonal record.
Yeah, I tell you, the time that when you guys were there, I followed you all, and then when the opportunity came for me to come to Tennessee State, Coach Reese made the phone call and reached out to me, and he and I we still talk all the time. I actually trained his youngest son at quarterback when he was a little eighth grader and started him up. So, but yeah, I tell you, when I first got there, man, Leon Murray helped me out a ton with knowing that offense and just kind of broke it down on how I need to learn it and not try to just, read the whole entire playbook throughout. And, once he kind of showed me that part of it, man, everything else took off from there. And Jimmy, I was just with Tim yesterday. He's here at TCU, so and Fort Worth just right down the road. But man, like guys like himself and Kenton Evans, them guys, they kind of taught me how to go through that playbook, man, because it was a pretty big playbook. And so they helped me out a ton, and everything else just came from there.
Yeah. I mean, you really done a super job there, man. And on the off season. Tell us, don't you have a quarterback school or kind of tell us about that? And if some people wanted to even bring their kids, and then we'll talk about, because I don't know if people understand the XFL, which we'll get into a little more, but you are right now in Arlington, Texas, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we're based here in Arlington. Of course, it's the spring league, and we're kind of that umbrella of guys, getting back into the NFL. So a lot of our players from every team, have all played some sort in the NFL at some point. From first round draft pick all the way to undrafted free agents. So we have a lot of good talent on all of our teams. So. It's great to work with those guys and help them continue to create value for themselves to get back into the NFL. And those are the things that we do here in Arlington. And, of course, our team is in DC, but all our base camp is right here in Arlington. But yeah, in the DFW area during the off season for us, which is the summer right now, getting ready to come up. And then, of course, throughout the entire fall when everyone else playing. But yeah, I do a training. I do that throughout the time that I have free time to where, give guys opportunity to get better, and so that's been fun to do that. And I mean, typically I don't work with little kids, but if someone need help and that's their call and their passion that they, a parent want their kid to do, I don't mind working with them. But a lot of times the kids I work with are high school kids and college guys. So, they come out in the DFW area and we get some good work, and we try to make sure we develop them the right way.
Now, how would they catch you on that? You got a email or something that they, that we probably can, I don't know, can you put it up while we're going through this?
Yeah, if he gets the email, gives me. Is it your email that I emailed you, Coach Harris?
Yep, the email address there, and then also on Instagram. You can just pull me up on Instagram at Coach Harris _9. I want to say at Coach Harris _9. You can catch me on Instagram as well.
Yeah, Coach. Again, continue to say that I kind of followed your career. You know, we all got a mentor, and I know you got one too in the Coach Kais. You know, tell us, you know, how you guys came together, and you guys have worked together, and you've won a lot of football games.
Yeah, Coach and I have been together for man. It's been a while now that we've worked together, and it started way back in 2006, and we got an opportunity to work with back at Tennessee State. Actually, when I was in my first job was in '04, when Reese gave me an opportunity to come back and be a coach. But Coach Kice came and with James Webster, and so that's when we first got our started working together in 2006. And like you said, we've won a lot of games together, all the stops we've been, and at Tennessee State, at Hampton, at Alabama State, as well at Alcorn State as well. And so we've won a lot of games at all of our stops, and even here in the UFL, in the XFL. So we've had a pretty good career path throughout the course of it, man. And we ain't stopping yet, so we're gonna keep going forward.
Y'all doing excellent. Kind of explain to the audience how the XFL particularly works, because you coach a team on the East Coast, but you're located in Arlington.
Yeah, so yeah, when the league first started back, I mean, with the XFL in 23, that's when, with The Rock and with Danny Garcia, and they're still heavily involved. But when it first started out in 23, and their whole main goal was to have everyone in one location. And now that everyone can get the same nutrition, the same strength and conditioning, the same training staff, just all that stuff. So now no one will miss out on something. And throughout that time, since 2023 in the spring, we've kind of kept it the same way. And it's worked out for the league itself. And then we merged last season with the USFL and the XFL now, and just made it the UFL. So we're in our second season with that. And so it's been nothing but fun to be able to work with the guys and work against some guys that you've looked up to throughout their coaching career. And now to have that opportunity to compete against these guys has been nothing but awesome.
Yeah. So all 8 teams are actually in Arlington. And
all 8 teams are here. Yep, all 8 teams are here. We have our headquarters here, the UFL headquarters. And, of course, we kind of disperse and have our own practice places. But, we'll fly out of here. Our last regular season game will be Friday. So we'll leave out of here, fly out of here Thursday, head to DC. And, we have a great, passionate fan base in DC. And we play all of our home games at Audis Field in DC, which is also the soccer stadium there for the United. So we have a great following there, and these guys they're so passionate, and we're excited to be there in DC.
I got to ask one question. I'm gonna turn it over to my partners here. Did you throw 7 touchdowns against Jackson State?
I did, man. Actually, 8. They just threw a penalty on one of them. So, yeah, one of them did count. But
I'm jealous of all that. Me and Leon, we were putting it together. But boy, when I seen your stats, I'm gonna have to call Reese tonight. I'm gonna say, man, y'all need to give me my playbook back.
Hey, the playbook work, man. I tell you, it's a fun offense to play underneath and play in, and at the same time, it's quarterback friendly, and you can definitely put up some numbers in that offense, man. And so I was blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, I didn't quite hear how many touchdowns you threw on Jackson State. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, let me say something about that too. The first play of that game, I threw an interception. The first play. And came back and threw 7 touchdowns that counted, but threw 8 touchdowns against those guys, man. But that one, I guess it was the official felt sorry or something, it had pity on them, man. But a fun game. I'm from Mississippi as well, so
that's a little get back, huh?
Yeah, that's one game, man. I tell you, that's always fun to play against with Jackson State, and just knowing that history, playing in that in the Southern Heritage, game in Memphis, and that's always been a fun game, man. There, hopefully they can get that back.
Well, look, I ain't gonna take nothing away. You know, that was the down Jackson State, but it's okay.
You mean Jackson State was down at one point? I don't. You don't ever hear anything about that.
Those guys were loaded then, man. You talking about NFL talent all across the field, on both sides of the ball. That was a loaded team, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they were pretty good.
Looks like you lit them up like a Christmas tree, though, Coach.
Yeah, a lot of. Yeah. It was pretty fun. It was pretty fun.
Now, Coach, you about to embark on. Your team is in the playoffs, and essentially you're gonna have the opportunity to play for a championship, right?
That's right.
I also, looking at your coaching pedigree, that you were at Alcorn in the mid-teens, 2000 teens. Were you able to be on or coach on a team that won a championship in the SWAC during that time?
I'm sorry, what was the last part again?
Were you able to coach on one of those Alcorn teams that won a SWAC championship?
Yeah, actually, that last year with Jay Hobson, he brought us on board, Kais and I, and Kais was the offensive coordinator, and I came in. I actually coached the receivers those 3 years. So, yeah, we won the championship, I want to say in 15, and then 16, 17, we played for the championship and lost to Grambling. So, but yeah, we was part of that that championship with them in 2015 after they won it in 2014 as well.
Hey, I also want to ask you this, Coach. We had Reggie Barlow on earlier this year after he was hired as Tennessee State's head coach. Coincidentally, that's kind of how you were promoted to interim head coach at the DC Defenders, because he was the head coach.
That's right.
And I just wanted to, ask you officially on the air. Is there any plans, or has there been any arrangements made for you to reunite with Coach Barlow at Tennessee State?
Yeah, that has been the plan, to do that with Coach Barlow. That was the plan when he took the job there as well. And man, I love working with Coach Barlow and for him, and a great guy to work with and for. And so we've talked about it from day one, as that been the plan. So we'll see the next 2 games or next 3 games. Hopefully, we get to the championship and all that, and then see how everything else go from there.
And that's what I was also going to ask. Provided you win the UFL championship, and could that change the fate of you potentially joining Coach Barlow at Tennessee State?
You never know what it may create. For us, man, we just try to take it week by week. And then anything else that happened after that, man, it's a bonus. And we just let the chips lay where they may from that standpoint. But like I talked to Coach, throughout the course of our season so far, like I'm still on deck. So, we'll see how things go from there.
And also doing some research on you, Coach. You're what many would consider a quarterback guru, right? Why is it, and this is a much broader question, why is it when we talk about quarterback gurus and guys who master and teaching the quarterback position, why don't as many black guys who coach the position are looked at or put on platforms to let people know that there are black coaches who also are quarterback gurus, quarterback whisperers, and know how to develop a quarterback? 'Cause there's several black quarterbacks, quarterback whisperers or quarterback developers that are out there, but for whatever reason, when you think of a quarterback guru, none of you guys are put on a pedestal or a platform to be thought of in that category. Though you have the performance, I look at Jordan Temu, what he's been able to do in the UFL as just, his improvement has been sensational since he's been under your tutelage. Why isn't black coaches put on that same level with other black quarterback developers and whispers?
Yeah, that's a great question. Loaded question for sure. And I tell you, the one thing about it, man, sometimes you try to create stories and tell the story, right? But at the same time, we just try to always, I know for me, I just try to let my work and what guys do throughout the course of their career and playing and things like that throughout the season, let their work and, their stats and all that stuff, tell who I am as a coach, as a teacher. As I say, I like to be called as a teacher, not so much as a coach, because, we always teaching these guys on how to be that great quarterback. And the other part of it is based off the wins and losses, you know what I mean? Guys who's winners and things like that. So throughout the course of my career of coaching quarterbacks, I've done it. I've been blessed to work with some really good guys and have that opportunity to guys have won a lot, underneath of me teaching them. So I don't know, man, why you get sometimes or oftentimes we don't get the recognition from that standpoint. But to your point, to the point you said, there's a lot of great coaches out there, man. Specifically black quarterback coaches out there that have done a really good job. And I know for me, like, I don't get caught up into over coaching guys or over teaching guys the position. I try to build them from the ground up. But I don't want to go through too many technical things with these guys and make them robots. I don't want them thinking about all the mechanical things like that. I just want to make sure, their lower half, their platform is right where it needs to be. And then, as you get older, like if I'm taking a high school kid or a college kid, as you get older, as you continue to develop in what I'm teaching, as you get stronger in the weight room and things like that, everything else will take care of itself. So I just try to make sure that those fundamentals are always intact when I'm coaching the quarterbacks.
Camel, if you like to ask a question, go ahead.
Coach, first of all, thank you for joining us. But I'm going to say something, y'all. Now, listen, this man is special. And y'all don't know. Now, Coach, let me ask you a question. Are you from Wiggins, Mississippi?
That I am, yeah.
Now, listen. Now, you're from Wiggins. Now, I know that town very well. Do you know any Brelands down there in Wiggins, Mississippi?
A ton of them.
Now, Coach, I want you to say that one more time. Do you know any Brelands down there in Wiggins, Mississippi?
Yes, sir, a ton.
I am related to all of them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
so when I saw that, and I said, now, Coach, now listen, my granddaddy and all them Brelands are all Jack State folks. That's a Jack State town. How did you end up from all them Brelands that you probably went to school with, probably dated one or two of them, probably one of your best friends, and all of them went to Jack State? How did you end up in Tennessee State to play football?
Man, I ended up, well, let me say this.
You wanted to go to a winner, man.
That's right. So everyone in my family went to Alcorn. So, but yeah, man, going to that game all the time at the end of that season, Alcorn versus Jackson State, right? So, I mean, just the knowing of Jackson State and, my brother and all those guys played at Alcorn. So, it's just the passionate fans at Jackson, man, at both schools at Alcorn. And, I wanted to go to a school to where I had to play at least one of them. So, and Tennessee State offered me that opportunity.
Well, I totally understand. Well, first of all, I know automatically. So I'm going to call my cousins down there because they're going to be excited because, like, one thing about them folks in Wiggins, they all stick together. And I'll tell people that by going down there, it is one of the most amazing cities of the level of educated black people that are in that city.
Yeah,
that's small. But everybody, and Coach, listen, when I say, and Coach know, and this probably with his family too, they start off as preachers and teachers and end up as doctors, lawyers, and coaches. So that's what's so amazing about Wiggins. And, I'm proud that to know that, like I say, I'm super excited when I saw that you're from Wiggins because I know how great people are. Like I said, I'm Brelands, like I say, that's my family's lineage and everything. So I'm related to all of them down there. So that is
it's a ton. It's a ton for sure.
I tell you one thing, Coach, one quick story. My grandmother, who was married to my grandfather, he's a Breland. So we went down there to go visit his grave. So I was in college at Florida A&M. So, you come down 49 and then you get off in the other highway to get down to Wiggins. So we pull up and, I hadn't been to Wiggins since maybe I was young, but I kind of remember that back road because my Aunt Rosie stayed back in the backwoods. Okay. And there was this white guy And I said, we're looking for the Breland land. And the white guy said, the colors or the white? I said, well, hold on. Wait a minute. My grandma jumped out there. So I said, wait a minute, bro. We about to do that down here. So, so what I'm saying is just how strong the fight of the people down there. So I want to say that. Now, Coach, one of the things that doing the research and things, now I'm going to pull something up because one of the things, now, Coach, you know you went viral, right? You know you went viral. Did you know this, that you went viral?
Yeah, I think from that first game, right?
So listen, guys, let me tell you something. See, when you come from Wiggs, Mississippi, you let people know exactly who you are. So, Coach, I'm gonna pull up something. I'm gonna need you to give a play-by-play on what happened right here. Let me pull this up. You guys,
I thought you were gonna surprise him, Cameron, and tell him you was his uncle. You know what I mean?
Oh, you gonna start some shit.
Can you guys? Is that Rock? Is that Sharon?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. So, Coach, you were playing Skip Holtz's team. Now, who's Coach Holtz coach?
Who was his coach?
Yeah, who's Coach Holtz? What team does he coach?
Birmingham.
Birmingham. So apparently that you all had met at a previous time, and this is what Coach had to let him know. So, Coach, hold on one second. Wait a minute.
Good job, Coach.
Shannon Harris. Run that back. Hold on.
What?
Head coach.
Good job, Coach.
Shannon Harris.
You told me at the headquarters. You told me I was a doorman at the headquarters. No. I told you. You told me I was a doorman. No. Look at that. You told me I was a doorman. What? You told me I was a doorman. No, I did not.
Now, Coach. Now you from Mississippi.
Yeah.
I feel every bit of that in your voice of how you want to make sure that any man is going to respect who and what you are. So, Coach, how did that come about? And just for me to see your players, how did you feel about your play, the way they felt, which I think kind of propelled going forward of who and what y'all coaching those young men and they supporting you. So kind of talk about how that happened and you being a coach and a black man, because like I said, this is HBCU Coaches Corner, we're talking to black coaches, of how you wanted those young men to know to always be respected.
Yeah, I tell you, man, and we talked about it, and we've kind of done swept it all under the rug, from the league itself and how all that stuff went down. But but to your point, though, we all want to be respected, and having that first opportunity to, these guys are 3-time champs, right? They've been the king of the spring. And I admire and respect everything that their organization, what it does, and even from Coach for what he does with with their team. He's played 3 different quarterbacks throughout the course of their career there, and they won 3 different championships. So that was the biggest thing, and it just it hurt me for something like that to have happened at that moment, because in this coaching fraternity deal, man, you always respect guys. Yeah, you competing and want to beat everybody on your schedule, but at the same time, you just want to go out there and make sure that you put a good product out there and show that you belong, right? And so that opportunity that came up, and like how you saw it, man, it was something that happened back in the headquarters. And like I said, man, we kind of went through that spiel, and we kind of done swept it under the rug, and then talked about it and talked it out. So I respect those guys. Also, Mike Jones on that staff, who's a Tennessee State alum as well, who played receiver, played in the NFL quite time. He's their receiver coach. So he and I, we talked about it as well. And
Mike played back there when we was in school.
Yeah. So great guy, man. Great guy. I respect him a ton. And again, I respect what those guys do over there at Birmingham still today. And it was a big win for us, an emotional win, because one, it was our first one and my first one as being the head coach. So a lot of emotion came out of all that, man. So
well, yeah, Coach, and I did not bring that up. And I want to be clear on this. And this is a lot. I did not bring it up for the myth. I brought about the strength of you letting your young men that follow you to understand that we came to fight, no matter who there's across the field, and they're going to respect us. That's more what I saw, not the part, again, in any of the outlandishness with people. But I respected the fact that you were going to stand your ground to let people know, hey, I'm here to coach just like you. And again, I'm pretty sure Coach Host is a great guy and stuff like that. But me, again, knowing where you came from, knowing your lineage and who and what you are, again, you've coached at many HBCUs, you're coaching a lot of African-American players. I appreciate the fact, and I like the fact that your players was right there with you saying, yeah, coach, we with you, coach.
Yeah, man. Of course, there's so many great coaches out there that don't get the opportunity, right? And the biggest thing was just more of just show that we belong as well, And Coach Barlow showed that as well, our first year in 2023 and us going to the championship game that year. But that's the thing. When you get opportunity, you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward at it and then just show everyone that you belong at the table.
Well, that's awesome.
I want to commend you on your outfit. You put your quarterback outfit up and went shopping for your head coaching outfit. I like the outfit.
Hey man, he was sharp when he coached. He come
from the cold tree.
You know what? And listen, Coach, I know you probably saw it. It kind of reminded me. Well, again, friend of the show, Coach Robinson, when he said, "Hey, he ain't sweat. I'm sweat."
That's right.
It gave me that same energy.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, man, because man, one thing at HBCU, man, or swag or wherever it may be, you're gonna have style and swag, right? So that's the one thing that playing at Tennessee State or just even coaching in the swag, man, has taught me that you're gonna have some style and swag for sure.
Hey, Coach Harris, let me ask you this. Speaking of that, about your HBCU experience in coaching, right? Mm-hmm. It seems to me that whether it be Johnnie Cole, Reggie Barlow, Shannon Harris, Willie Simmons, so many, what I would consider great coaches, they somehow, of various different reasons, they end up not being part of HBCU football at some point. How does the best coaches in Black college football end up coaching in other places, doing other things, when they have had so much success, and it somehow seems like other guys get opportunities? Can you talk about what your journey has been? Because it seems like to me, Coach, with your pedigree and the success you've had, you would have had an opportunity to be a head coach at an HBCU, but it just hadn't happened that way.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Oftentimes, it doesn't just happen that way, man. And you just got to stay in the fight, man, and keep working at it, keep working on your craft, and then eventually, when that opportunity comes, you just be ready for it and go full task at it. But but you're right. A lot of guys don't get those opportunities for whatever that reason may be. I don't know. Sometimes it's just whatever that university, they have their own picks and who they want, and so you just got to be, continue to be prepared and, have a plan when that opportunity comes, and then you just work the plan and you just stay the course, man. You can't get frustrated, can't get upset and all of that stuff. You just got to keep working at it. With our players this year, we kind of talked about it. I showed them this video, the team, and, the video was more of like, the guy saying, I didn't get this job, and, his reaction was good, or I didn't get this promotion and the reaction was good, or I didn't get this or get that. It's always good. Maybe I need to work out something better. Maybe I need to do something like this to create more value for myself. So, that was just my mindset as well, just knowing that, the opportunity may come. If it doesn't, I'll be okay with it, but I'm gonna continue to work and prepare and not just sit there and not prepare and be content with where I am, because my mindset was eventually it's gonna come up and I just gotta be ready for it.
Yeah. Now this opportunity with the XFL, I know it's somewhere for this overload of players to play, and I think it's great. Because they can only take so many in the NFL. Do it also help coaches as well? Have coaches left this league and moved up to the next league?
Yeah, it's been an opportunity for everyone, coaches, and like you said, the players and the coaches as well. And then, I know for us, we've had our equipment person, get opportunities back into the NFL. All our trainers have gotten opportunities to go back to the NFL. Our strength coaches have gotten opportunity to go back to the NFL or have gone to the NFL. So yeah, it's not just for the coaches itself or the players. It's for everybody that's a part of the organization. And that's what this league have done is created value for everyone.
And keep everybody playing, keep everybody employed as well. I thought The Rock,
Absolutely.
that was one of the things The Rock always talked about was guys that if they don't make the NFL, some of them don't have nowhere to go, until they at least can get on their feet. And, I know financial wise, I heard they had to make a lot of cuts and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's still good. Some close friends of mine, Brett Maxey, he works for I think it's the Houston Roughnecks. I think he's down there. So I think it's helped a lot of people out. Besides this opportunity that you might get to go back to your alma mater in between, you never know, what's next for Shannon Harris.
Yeah, you never know. And like you said, with the league, man, it's giving guys that opportunity. Yeah, some of it had pay cuts and things like that, but you still have opportunity to create that value for yourself. And so when these opportunities weren't there before, what you have. So now, while the resources are here, the league is here. You got to take full-fledged advantage of it, and that's me. Right now, to have the opportunity of being a head coach, it's continuing to work my craft now as a head coach in all aspect of my coaching game, coaching coaching career, my coaching, the way I go about handling and all those things. So I'm just grateful for this opportunity to be able to do that. And I tell you, man, the college game is so different now. I mean, it's hard to keep your players nowadays. With the NIL and all that stuff. So that's a whole nother monster that has been created, and so the recruiting is totally different now. Everyone want a handout when it comes to money and things like that. So so you have to be strategic in how you handle all those things. But the thing that's next for me, coach, is really just stay the course where I am, try to continue to be great where I am, and then everything else I'll let the chips lay where they may.
Well, going back to Tennessee State, now it's a bunch of Tennessee State great quarterbacks. Do you know one of the quarterbacks was out of Mississippi? I used to watch him play.
Yeah, Joe Adams, 747.
747.
Yeah, man. He and I, we talk, often, and so and talk about other players, other places, and things like that. So he's been a great guy to get to know, and man, I love talking with him and just to hear his experience through it all. But he was a great one for sure.
Yeah, I had an opportunity when I was there to work with Joe Adams, Jefferson Street.
Yeah,
and just the things that we, the talks that we had while I was coaching, and of course, Leon came up under him, man. It's great. I mean, it's one thing about Tennessee State, and to be talking to you as well from a little kid watching Tennessee State play Central State back from the 70s to the 80s, man. You just another one of those brilliant quarterbacks that come out of Tennessee State, man. I think that's a token and something you should keep dear to you. And of course, I'm still mad that you broke my record so fast, but hey, man, I wouldn't have nobody else to do it but you. And following your career, I could see why you done the things that you have done in your career, man. And I look to see that you're gonna do some other great things too. This is just the beginning.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Coach. And I tell you, when I first got to Tennessee State, to your point, and I got an opportunity to get there, and the first thing I did was look in the record books and see who all had records. And I was like, man, there's some great quarterbacks through here. They threw for a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. So I got some work to do, man. So that's what motivated me the most, man, to see all the great quarterbacks that come through Tennessee State. And to see the things they've done, not just at Tennessee State, but even in their career going into the next level and pro ball. So I knew I had my work cut out, and I had to go in there and just grind and keep my head down. Stay away from all the distractions. So I went in there with a straight mindset, man, and stay focused and get the work done.
Yeah, let me put you on the spot for a minute. I have to put you on the spot. For some reason, since you're alumnus of Tennessee State, why they don't honor the 98-99 team?
Why don't they?
Yeah, why they don't? They don't talk about it none. I know they, Eddie George came in, he won the championship, and I had the boys put me up to it. So since you was on the spot, I might as well ask Coach Harris.
Yeah, me honestly, I don't know, but I will say the one thing that needs to happen is they have to be honored. And I'm gonna say this, even when I was coaching there, it's always one of those type of things to where, man, we got to get our own players back involved heavily, And so, and I mean, that's a great thing to do by getting the guys back involved, is honoring those guys who have came through there and done some great stuff. And then not only just to win championship, just think about the amount of guys that went on to the next level from those teams. I mean, on both sides of the ball. So you talking about a ton of dudes, man, playing NFL ball, and not just for free agency or 1 or 2 years. These guys played many, many, many years in the NFL, and so at all positions. So yeah, I mean, I still talk to all those guys, of course, and yeah, I do believe that they need to be honored a lot more, for sure.
Yeah, we talked to Reginald, Coach Barlow, about it as well, and they got a group chat. The 98-99 teams, they got a group chat that they've been talking. Man, we've been talking on this group chat for 20 years.
Right, right.
and a lot of them have had kids that go on to Boston College, Harvard, going on to play ball and done great things, you know what I'm saying? And with you going back there, because I got love for Tennessee State as well. I mean,
no doubt.
I got my first start as an offensive coordinator on a Division 1A level, man, and it
was that nepotism that got him there, though, Coach Harris. He's not gonna tell him that. His mama got him that job, and
my mother's the one told me to leave
it. Right.
But no, I just want to share that with you, because like I said, I still talk to some of the guys as well.
Yeah,
They really, really feel left out because I talk about the teams in the early 80s, with Brian Ransom and Killebrew and Richard Dent and all those guys and Golden Tate. I know all those cats. And those cats was throwing the football when throwing the football wasn't even popular.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing then. You're right. Yeah. I still talk with BR every once in a while as well, along with 747. Of course, Mike, we are here in the league together. So man, so many guys have come through there, man. A plethora of dudes, man. The list go on and on. Of course, like along with some of the other HBCUs and the SWAC and everything like that. So all those guys, man.
You holding the record, baby. You got the seasonal. You got the seasonal record. And touchdowns
no, let me tell you this. And touchdown. But let me tell you this. So the quarterback that I had, the kid that I had in 2019 ended up breaking my record, the quarterback that I had then when I was the offensive coordinator there. Yeah. Wow. So look, I said, if anybody gonna break it, I need them to be a guy who I'm coaching.
Hey, Coach Harris, you've been very gracious. You committed to 30 minutes. You've been on here about 40, Coach. I want to thank you for and be respectful of your time and everything, man. I know you're in the middle of a championship run with the UFL. I know who I'll be rooting for in the playoffs, even though that DC name, being a Cowboy fan, really hurts me to even say. I'm sure you get a lot of
that. Yeah. The Commanders gonna be tough, man. They're tough dudes, man. I tell you, Jaden James has really done some great things there. But Cowboys done made some. They done signed some good players, so give Dak and the other guys some toys to play with out there too. So, yeah.
Now, are y'all opening up at home? Do y'all play at home the next 2 weeks? Any home game?
No, well, we play at home this weekend, and be Friday night on Fox. It's 8 p.m. Eastern game, so 7 Central, and then the playoffs start June 8th. And
but y'all play out in DC. I keep forgetting. I'm thinking
we play out.
I'm gonna be in Texas this week.
Yeah, so first playoff game will be at St. Louis against St. Louis. Yep.
That'll be interesting, Coach. And when y'all win that game, you'll be playing for it all. And that's 2 weeks later, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, they already got the
where do they play that championship game at, Coach?
It'll be at St. Louis as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the semifinals and then it's the finals.
Then the finals. That's correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Coach, man. Appreciate you. Tell all the coaches, all the guys I work with, man, good luck this week. I know you guys are winners. I know you'll get it done, or at least be prepared to get it done.
That's right. Yep. And I really appreciate you all having me on, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Hey, you never disappoint, man, Coach. You know all the winners, Coach. You know all the winners.
Man,
which brings me to a point to this and I'll ask Campbell this. I'm not going to even ask a HBCU coach because I know his answer is going to be biased, Coach. How do we let guys impressive guys like Shannon Harris escape the HBCU fold, Coach?
Well, let's be honest. Life is about opportunities. And Coach knows this. There are only so many opportunities. And when you got, and I hate that, I wanted to get, because Coach Harris did one thing that I thought was amazing. He did what coaches like Coach Cole tell all his players: make the most of your opportunity. This coach went, got his degree, went and became an intern in the Tennessee Titans, doing film study, starting at the bottom, moving up to his next school, doing the same thing, moving up, building his craft. And now look at him, he's a head coach. That is something all of our players can point to. That's something that they can do. Now, everybody can't be Walter Payton and Jerry Rice, but people can be Coach Harris. And that's the thing about, but I think, honestly, it has a lot to do about opportunity. It has a lot to do, again, coaches know coaches. Like I say, he just said it. I'm assuming that he said, hey, that I won't be with the family. I'm going to go down there with Coach Barlow at Tennessee State. Well, why is that? Because he has a relationship. So a lot of this has to do with relationships also. So I think, again, what we have to do is have ADs. See, what I would do if I'm an AD and I'm watching this interview, he's going to be on my short list. So if I don't like the coach I got, or I know I need a coach, I'm going to interview this guy. Because to me, he's young, he's smart, and like I say, and again, and I wanted to be very honest about him. I didn't show it to be messy because that's not my thing. What I showed was the passion of his players that rallied behind him. And also, again, hey, man, this man from Wigan, Mississippi, you ain't going to call me no dumb man, bro. That ain't happening. Yeah. So I think that really rocking, honestly, that's what it has a lot to do with and things like that. But I'm just excited because he's going to be a head coach on the HBCU school very soon. No doubt about it.
Well, and the reason why, because when I first started being part of the HBCU fan base, one of the things one of the conversations that happened very early on the Off-Script channel was recycling the coaches and how much the fan base didn't appreciate that. Well, I'm learning now, Coach, that recycling coaches ended up being a choice that administrators made because there is a deep talent pool, or there has been a deep talent pool in HBCU coaching, right? However, they've just chosen or chose to hire guys with head coaching experience rather than giving a guy with not much experience or a guy who's been an assistant or a coordinator an opportunity.
Hey, Roger, let me ask you this question. I don't mean to cut you off, but do you think it's recycled now when you look at all the coaches?
No.
You can't say that now, can you?
No. The recycling question lasted about 2 years.
and look at the talent level. It's because those kids like Harris, who have been behind good coaches, he was at Tennessee State, he's been at Alabama State, he's been at Hampton.
Alcorn.
Alcorn championship. You know, he knows what it looks like. When you are guys with no experience, man, it's you know, you're asking to lose, and it's nowhere it's been successful at. You know, besides probably, of course, everybody would say Dion, but you know, he was around, and he had the expense and the smartness to hire a bunch of great coaches around it.
Well, Coach, as we talk about this, my question would be, is this. Let's take Dion out of the equation, because I think Dion had a specific skill set and access to resources that most coaches aren't going to come in with. So I
agree, totally agree.
Yeah, so let's take him out of the mix. Let's take a regular coach, right? And there's been several regular coaching hires, right? And I'll go back to two that when the recycling conversation happened, it happened around hiring guys like Eric Dooley at Southern. When Southern was struggling, you took Eric Dooley, who wasn't a championship head coach, but he had been on some championships, right? And he gets the Southern job, right? Unfortunately for him, that didn't work out. But a lot of people in the HBCU space predicted that it wouldn't work out. You know, even though that's who the fan base wanted. That's one of the ones that the fan base made it. Wouldn't you agree, Campbell, that the fan base made that choice of Eric Dooley and it didn't work out? It really wasn't.
Yeah, because in their mind, he was somebody. He was a local home. Well, he wasn't from Baton Rouge, New Orleans, but you know, somebody that they knew and things like that. And listen, hold on, let's be okay. In fairness to Coach Dooley, because I know he gets a lot of hell. He was the offensive coordinator on 2 SWAC championship teams. Moved over to Prairie View. They won the West, so his resume was not like it was empty. Okay, let's be honest.
No, but he was still building at Prairie View. He already had a job, Coach. My point is, he already had a job, right? And he hadn't done anything transformational as a head coach, right? To where he had to have a blue blood job. You understand? Blue blood program. That's all I was saying.
But that's what kind of happens. You listen. You buy low and sell high. So it's the trend thing. You know what I mean? So he was trending in the right direction. Again, 2-time SWAC champion at Grambling. Celebration Bowl winner, Prairie View that is also ran and gotten them to the chance. Southern's like, well, shoot, if he could do this with Prairie View, he definitely, with all the assets that we have in the Southern University, we should be able to be the same thing. And then let's keep it a buck, he took Southern to the SWAC championship. So, I mean, you know, again, when you kind of look at it, if you just did a blind taste test and look at it, his 5-year run between Grambling and all the way that, he just had one bad season.
Let me say this. One of our guests said it best. Chennis Berry, Tremaine Jackson, Sam Shade, to me, that should be what I'm looking for. You know, guys that have started off and been successful and moved up. You know, if he even started from high school or started from assistant coach and moved to a coordinator's job, those are guys that blueprint is a great blueprint to have. And you see their success. You know, they've seen success. See, it's one thing, guys, that as a fan, and you sitting back and you in the stands and you watching, oh, man, those are big old guys. You know what I mean? Or I've seen guys that even came up underneath my tree that I didn't think was ready to be a head coach, took some head coaching jobs and weren't successful because they get in the habit of trying to match every team they see to the team that won championships. You know, it's a flavor. It's some positions that you see that you have that you really know that you've came to fruition of. Now, this is the team. This is the team going to take us. And you can see the progress. You know what I mean? You can see the progress. Like when we first went at Alabama State, man, we had nobody there the first year for summer workout until we had to get rid of the concert and start bringing in guys that knew how to win. And you went from having little bitty guys in summer to damn near your whole team in summer school. but they were there to get better. So instead of us coming into the fall trying to get in shape, we just came into the fall, in shape and ready to go so we can move further and faster in our playbook.
Well, it's something you said about Tremaine in one of the conversations that we had offline, Coach, when he was being considered for a number of jobs around HBCU football. You said that one thing you knew Coach Jackson knew. He knew the formula. He knew the ingredients of building a winner, right? And because he knew the ingredients, that gave him a leg up on a lot of guys that are currently coaching in the SWAC because he's seen it. He knows what it looks like. He's seen it put together. Coach, but I'll say this. It's how do you tell a guy who knows what the ingredients are versus a guy who knows how to cook it? You know what I mean? Those are two totally different things, Coach.
Exactly. That's why I said there's some guys that came out underneath me and my brother's tree that when his head coaches, it stunk it up. Because some of the things that we value on putting together a football team, some coaches don't value. Some coaches don't value. I don't like flip-flops. I like your pants on your hip. I like for the kids to be shaved. Some coaches don't value that. We've had that on this show, huh, Bishop? Man, Coach, you tell me he can't wear no braids, dreads. Shit, man, hey, I don't know. It worked for me. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere I've been. But some coaches don't value that. Some coaches think, hey, let the players be who they want to be.
Well, Coach, in defense of you, because I don't want this. Here's what I would say, though. But I think, again, if somebody gave you a coaching job, I think that you would understand, because there's a difference between looking sloppy and any haircut being neat, right? That's right. I think you would also evolve with the culture, because honestly, you would have to. So I think you would be able to have, because you can be disciplined and a kid can have dreads. You know what I'm saying? And the kid could be a 4.0 student and be a leader of a team. So I want to give you credit. I don't want people to think that Cole would be like, you got to wear a high top fade, you know what I mean? Skin high, high and tight, and only way to win. So I want to give you
no.
Yeah, because I think people misquote. I think what people do, they misquote. They miss the underlying quote. It's about the discipline that you're looking for, about being uniform, about showing up on time, about properly dressed. You know what I mean? People ran with the hair thing, not understanding it was more of an overall thing. And I want to be clear on that because listen, we in this new, and as they, every time you come on here, you're interviewing. I want people to understand that if somebody see you, that you can still coach. So I just want to clear that up.
Oh, shoot. Well, Coach, man, I mean, it's in my blood. I like tell people I had a ball in my hand before I even knew my name. So, and it wasn't because of me. It's because I came behind eight fabulous men. So I appreciate that. But
hey, Coach Cole, I'm gonna set up. We set up to get out of here a little early, but I'm gonna open up the phone lines in case anybody want to call and have a comment, anything that was said or heard today. Before we get out of here,
I do want to bring up one thing.
Go ahead.
And I don't know, Coach, you might have missed this. So we had a little bit of an issue on social media and about fake news. And I'm going to pull this up because I think what our show does is give a lot of information. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you a tweet that was talking about my AD. Did that come up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, wait a minute. I wonder. Oh, there we go. All right. So, Coach, this particular Twitter platform called HBCU Premier Sports, they put this out yesterday morning. HBCU Premier Sports will be dropping a disturbing news this evening out of Florida A&M athletics. Sometimes you can't sweep things under the rug, and some things need to be reported. Now, Coach, we didn't know what the hell was going on. We didn't know if we had a violation. We didn't know if somebody had stolen some money and things like this. So, Coach, come to find out that this particular platform has saw a video of a young man. We had a player that got hurt at the SWAC tournament.
SWAC baseball tournament.
And the young man was just speaking and saying it. And because he did not say our AD name, this man took it upon himself basically to impugn the integrity of my AD. And Coach, I'm gonna say this. We talk about this a lot of times about this. This is why people like this platform. But I got to put this out because I'm gonna say this. When you come on and say that you are HBCU platform, and then you put out fake news and lies, you're not supporting the cause that you call yourself. And the thing that was most disappointing is when people showed that the young man's parents had thanked the athletic staff, family, and the AD. He still was not man enough to say, you know what, I made a mistake. I apologize to AD Suggs and the Florida A&M University.
And,
so,
when
Coach,
when you say this man, who's HBCU premier?
Well, we don't know exactly his name. We know it's a guy, and he hides behind this particular his account. Correct.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that because what's so important what we do here is that, you know, a lot of people can do the way we do it. But the one thing about HBCU Corner, we always about facts. And this bothered me, not because I know AD Suggs and she's been a guest on the show, but this is the reason why a lot of times, Coach, we talk about this, is that we are some of times our own worst enemy. When we should be uplifting and supporting when we're looking for gotcha stuff. So it was just disappointing. And the fact that, again, this person would not then turn around and make a retraction and say, hey, you know, I got it wrong. I've got, you know, various accounts that the young man's parents and himself appreciate what Florida A&M did. And then just, you know, then blocked everybody. But the reason why, again, I wanted to point that out is because, Coach, I appreciate you bringing on these coaches because to Rocky's point sometime, and I think Rocky understands this, we don't know these coaches. We only see them from the outside. We make a lot of assumptions. The fans make a lot of assumptions. There are a lot of untruths about our HBCU coaches, but they get to come on this show and then they get to see another side of the coaches. And then they talk about some of the challenges that they have. Because a lot of people on the outside do not know, and Coach, you know this, a lot of people that sit on stand have no clue how hard your job is. They have no clue.
You know, Mr. Campbell, the thing that bothered me about this story wasn't necessarily the false accusation or the implied mismanagement of a situation by your AD. That's not what bothered me. What bothered me was they used a terrible, tragic situation and tried to co-opt it in order to damage the reputation of Florida A&M and the AD. The young man had a horrible injury, and come to find out he had to have multiple surgeries. But now he has to be put in a position where he almost has to defend the people that cared for him in that situation. You know what I mean? The people that did come see him, the people that did come visit him, the people that, you know what I mean? Like he has to say something, or his family has to say something in the midst of this very trying time. That's what I think is quite frankly despicable and disgusting, that this account holder would use this particular situation to try to, you know, imply that FAMU did something improper along with AD Suggs. Like there's something else there, you know, with this story, when it was just an unfortunate, freakish accident that ended the kid's career. And that's so unfortunate. And his family has to deal with that.
Rocky, I couldn't have said it any better. And the thing about it, which, like you said, when you write this salacious headline, swept under the rug, like something was being hidden, like something was done wrong. And then all you have is a video of the young man just talking, you know, about and thanking people and that he's going to be all right and move forward with his life. You know, I just think that this is just the worst part of, like I said, what I hate about social media. And again, it just bothers me. So like I said, again, I just want to bring that up. I know we got people, like I said, they want to call in. Please do call in, and we do want to hear from him. But Coach, I appreciate you just giving me a time, because I just wanted to address this, because a lot of people ask me about this, and like I say, it's just disappointing because, again, and what the thing about it is and I'm gonna say this for AD Suggs, because I know she talked about this on this show. She was like, "Hey, I rode on the bus with these guys, And I want to make sure all of our student athletes are taken care of. And then to use this picture of her and to say she's sweeping things on the rug, I just can't condone that. And I hope this person understands why he will never get any support for any of us. So, Coach, I appreciate you just letting me do my FAMU minute and that part of the show.
We gonna just make that a permanent. Hey, Rocky, I just sent you something. Can you put that up on the board? I just emailed y'all.
You emailed it to me?
I mean, text it.
Okay, let me look at it.
Or do I need to email?
No, you good.
While you're doing it, I wanna let everybody know the 16th annual Black College Football Hall of Fame inductee ceremony will commence on June the 7th, 2025 at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia, beginning at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Black College Football Hall of Fame inductee ceremony is presented by the hometown Atlanta Falcons. Listed below are the Hall of Famers: Henry Dyer, Grambling State; Fred T. Pop Long, Wiley College; Jacquay Nunley, Florida A&M; Rayshawn Mathis, Bethune-Cookman; Dominique Roger Cromartie, Tennessee State; Jay Skywalker, Howard University. Everybody knows him as the face of the 5 and 5. So those guys are going to be inducted this coming next week at the Hall of Fame, and I'm planning on being there to the inductee ceremony.
Yeah, this is a great event. I wish I could attend, but due to work obligations, I won't be able to make it. But this is a sensational event, and again, I really wish I could be here because this is something. This is us honoring us. Doug talked about this while he was on the show, and it seems like it's being done in such a classy way. Being the sports fan that I am, knowing several of the inductees that'll be honored, I really wish I could be there. But I'm glad Coach Cole will be in attendance, and with it being in Atlanta, who knows, they may get a visit by the bishop.
Yeah, and that's Lenny Moon, one of the media personnel out of Houston, Texas. He has not only a lot to do with this Black College Hall of Fame, he also has a lot to do with the NFL Hall of Fame, who's a real great friend of mine.
Hey, Rocky, go up, because there's one person on this, well, several, but there you go. I want you to highlight Coach Pop Long. Yeah. And I just want you guys to understand something, how that down there at University of Texas and that team, I want you to understand before our athletes, listen to this. This man won 10 SWAC titles, 23, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 44, 45, 56, and 57. Rocket, those players were the players that couldn't get into the University of Texas. I want people to understand that. The level of talent that is down there. And that's why when I look at a prayer,
that's out in East Texas too, in Marshall.
Thank you. And to think about, because they did not have the opportunity, and we provide the opportunity to look at the powerhouse. And could you imagine the talent on that team to run through the SWAC and beat these people? And look at Texas, they would never, of course, back then it would never happen. And what they would have done to the University of Texas or Texas A&M with that level of talent probably on that team. So these are things that when you see forefathers like this, that's what I take pride in our history. Because, Coach, as you know, before, I'm glad all these guys get opportunities and they get NIL and they can go to Georgia and Florida and all blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand it's a new world. But if it wasn't for Coach Pop Long, it would not be any of these guys that could do this.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. So again, I just wanted to just point that out, because when I saw that, because I had heard, because again, you get some of the old heads from Wiley College, they'll tell you about Coach Long and how they used to dominate the SWAC and everything. So that's why I just wanted to point that out. And again, Jacquez Nunley, part of the Rack Boys, hey man, it's a players coach, and there's several players on this list. Well, big time. Rasheem Mathis was an NFL guy, big time. Roger Camardi, NFL guy, Tennessee State. You know what I mean? These are big names, big name football players, man. And these guys are NFL guys, coach. These
and
are
of course,
NFL guys.
This is probably the highlight of the induction, not because he's the best football player of all of them, because of what he means to the culture. Jay Scott Walker has, branded himself, in my opinion, or the culture has branded himself as Mr. HBCU football. And he does a great job when broadcasting those games on ESPN.
Yeah. I will say this. We respect Jay. We don't like Jay. That's more of a FAMU thing. Jay Walker's amazing. He does a great job. Shout out to Timothy Green, FAMU rally that he works with. But no, Jay definitely understands and he pushes the culture forward. And I like the fact that he does like to play the villain sometimes. He leans into it.
I'm gonna get him on the show.
Hey, that's what I was gonna say, Coach. Coach, if you can, Coach, if you can't get them, they can't be got, Coach. That's what I say. If you can't get them, they can't be got. But y'all, that is a great that's a great thing to have a Black College Hall of Fame, man. Again, maybe I can put this on my calendar in future years, and we can make it a whole thing, Coach. Because we were invited by Doug, and make sure you tell Doug I really wanted to be there. I just wasn't able to.
Let me say this too to you guys. And Todd said it as well on how they got some guys and kept some guys together. I hear a lot of coaches always talk about recruiting. And if we don't get this player, we got to pay this player. Now players is, I need an apartment, I need a house, I need a, and I told you guys, and I'll go to the moon with it, that programs beat talent all the time, and it's enough kids out there to find 22 that can play. You know what I'm saying? They might not have the size, but they got the wheel. You know what I mean? They might just need that one coach just to push them a little edge. They got the talent. They got the ability. It's about finding team players that one come and go. Do you have to have a couple studs? Yes, I'll be the last one to say you just can't go in there with a bunch of Army men. But it's enough players out there. You just got to be a good coach, understand and recognize talent, run a good tight ship program, making sure everybody think alike, be alike. You can't control whether they like each other. At least they'll like each other for 3 hours on Saturday, and that's what's important. So,
is there any truth? Is there any truth to this, Coach Cole?
No, but I can find out real quick. You know what I mean?
What about you, historian Campbell? Is there any truth to that?
Was Maryland James. Now that I don't know. I do not know that. I can't tell you that. But let me say this. If Emmett Jones said it, Emmett Jones, wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna say this. Emmett ain't no youngster. He knows his SWAC history. So if Emmett said it, it probably is true. Because Emmett ain't new to this.
Reason why I'd never heard that before.
Yeah. No. I'm pretty. If Emmett's saying that, I'm pretty sure that's probably true.
And we talking James Shaq Harris, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, that's the 20. That's one of my favorites.
Hey, yeah. I definitely have to call in that favor because I've been around all of them, and that never came up.
That was
One of my favorites.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you a question, though, before we get off. What do you think, because I do hear this a lot, and this even happens at the Power 5 level. Why do you think there is a disconnect with schools and former players at some of the schools? Like I said, this even happens at the Power 5 level, because I remember at the University of Miami at one time, they said, the guys wasn't coming back, and Florida State, they wasn't coming back. So I've heard this at various schools. What do you think that's about, Coach? What is that? When that is your lifeblood, there's no better recruiter than guys that play, especially championship guys that can come back and talk to the younger guy and also fire up the alumni. Because, again, when you bring those guys back, the alumni actually went to school with them or saw them play. So why do you think there's a disconnect like that with the administration and former players?
It always about character and how you handle yourself coming through the program, you know. And if you know, y'all hear me always talk about if you're a cerebral player, you know, if you're a team guy, can I trust you once you leave the field? And I think that's the difference between HBCU on the coaching side as opposed to at the major schools. At the major schools, it's about win, win, win. And if you're an asshole, but you can perform on the field, then we're going to let you be an asshole all through the week, but on Saturday, we're going to still play you. Now, once I'm done playing with you, then I'm done with you. I hear a lot of kids, you know, I'm from Ohio, and I went to school with a lot of guys that played at Ohio State, even players after I left, they come back, and they say, you know, they have no connection with the school. You know what I mean? And that's all through the country. I mean, even when I was coming through and comparing my days at Texas Southern to guys I knew and started hanging out with from A&M and Baylor and Texas, it just ain't no comparison, you know. And I think if you're not cerebral, meaning, yeah, I want to know what the equipment guy do. I want to know what coaches do out after this. I want to know what goes on in putting the program together instead of just being a player. You know, come in, get dressed, go out, knock some head, then after that, I'm gone. So I think a lot of that has to do with the culture. And if you're not into the culture, then 9 times out of 10, once you get through playing, you're done. I mean, my brother was the first African-American captain at the University of Nebraska. Of course, they've never had a head coach in no sport, except for the interim in college football, and we've had him on our show. So if it ain't no culture and ain't nobody embracing you, I mean, what do you have? And then when some of the brothers do get embraced and do get into that realm, they just stay. They don't bring nobody with them. They'll be the only guy there or the only two there. When I was at the University of Cincinnati, they had 2 black coaches. You know, me on offense, one on defense. That's just how it is. That's just how it's been. Is it getting better? Yes. But it's baby steps. You know, it's baby steps. You asked the question of Rocky, Tim is like, man, we got all these great quarterbacks, which we do. You know, Shannon Harris and Torrenio Morgan and all these guys, man, that we've had come out of the SWAC, the MEAC, that are quarterback guys, gurus, had great careers, you know, and then they turn out and coach quarterbacks. We don't know nothing about them. If they don't talk on this show, what show do they have to talk on? And we the only HBCU show that actually talk to real coaches on a consistent basis.
And
So,
Coach, and that's a big coach, and that is such a big thing because I got a phone call from somebody that played with Coach Totten and just, you know, just hadn't talked to him or anything and said, man, just to see him, you know, because he's like, hey, we were young guys, and to see him on this show, he said, man, I haven't seen him interviewed anywhere. I always wondered, you know what I mean? And he said, I hadn't seen it. And mind you, this is 40 years, and this is what, and again, and like I said, Rock, I know you just don't understand, but Coach understand, this is Willie Totten. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yeah. You know, and I'm saying that respect. This is Willie Totten.
Coach, you talking about a man threw for 5,300 yards.
And you talk about a name and what he brought to, I mean, he's a historical figure. That's the thing about it. And to interview him and to allow him to talk about, you know, again, for me to bring him through that 84 season, which was their magical season, and to him to talk about it in depth and things like that. So many people like, man, I just had to relive that. I remember that when they beat Jack State. I remember when they lost to Alcorn. I remember when they were scoring that 85 points. All these things.
I hate to even say this. Would you, if he graduated from your school and done all that, coach football, would you, if you had an athletic director's job open, would you give it to him?
Would I give it to Willie Totten?
Yeah.
Hell, I give him the shot. Yeah, they give everybody else a shot.
Well, Mississippi Valley didn't let him be the AD. His name is on the stadium. When the AD job opened up, he applied, he interviewed, and they did not give him the head.
Yeah, and let me say this.
That's
okay,
crazy.
well, let me also say this.
That's us, though. See, that's us.
But hold on, but see, this is even worse about that. First of all, and no disrespect, but this is gonna be disrespect. It's Mississippi Valley. You don't have that many people of that high caliber with that name recognition. It'd be different again. If you Jackson State, you got a whole bunch of people that's applying for that job. You Florida A&M, you got a whole bunch of people applying for that job. You Southern, so just the fact that it's 50-60% of people in Florida A&M, Jackson State, Southern open up, Texas Southern, you know what I'm saying? The name school, Alabama State. You got a whole bunch of people across the country. How many people, honestly, of that level of care and concern? And the man is educated. Okay, let's not get it twisted.
And he got Jerry Rice was going back. He made a call.
So
and his name is on the stadium. And you don't name him the athletic director.
Well, let me say this, guys. One thing that I think is sometimes how HBCUs miss the boat with their prominent alumni. I'll just say prominent alumni is they wouldn't let Willie Totten serve as an OC of Fort Valley without offering him a prominent role at Mississippi Valley, at least in the capacity of shaking hands and kissing babies, raising money for the school. They're not going to let him work for Fort Valley full time because they know what his value is to Mississippi Valley. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that you're giving a guy a job. It's just that in the state of Mississippi, in college football, Willie Totten can get in rooms that just frankly other people can't get into. And I'm talking about those rooms where there's fundraisers, where there's supporters, where there are business opportunities. And at the end of the day, the name Willie Totten is most valuable to Mississippi Valley State.
Well, it's everywhere. You know what I mean? I mean, I ain't saying white is right.
RG3 was just giving a post at Baylor.
They do have a mechanism of what they do with their players, and most of the time lately they've been black superstars. And they bring those guys back on campus. They make sure those guys show up at all the facilities. Even some of them have jobs, side jobs. I don't see why we can't take that blueprint into HBCUs to help us raise money around the athletic department. When you talk to people,
can I answer that, Coach? Can I answer that, though?
Campbell, hold on. That's a name that people know and familiar with.
Well, let me ask you this question. Coach, let me ask you this. How much do you think they should pay that guy?
How much do I think they should pay him?
Yeah.
Enough. I'm always big on teacher salaries, $75,000. I mean, I understand the HBCU, and what they have. Here's another thing, guys, and y'all can answer this. How come when you start winning at HBCU, all of a sudden money start coming everywhere? You can go buy a whole new set of jerseys.
But
you stay in a better hotel.
That's at every level, Coach. Now wait a minute now. I can show you, and this happened. No, listen. I can show you. When you see these little teams that go on those runs in the tournament, right? All of a sudden, money comes away. All of a sudden, people register school. If you're losing, you're not making. I guarantee you, Vanderbilt that had this winning record this year beat Alabama. I bet this is the best fundraising year they've had in the last 20 years because they beat Alabama. I bet you.
I got that, but black colleges ain't having no fundraisers. With the money they start off with, 9 times out of 10 is the money they finish with.
Well, okay.
I think Coach Cole's point is.
You see what I'm saying?
Coach, let me say this.
The head coach. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say this because I want to reiterate what you're saying, Mr. Campbell. Coach, it's not that new money comes in. It's that the existing money is redistributed to athletics. You understand what he's saying? He's saying it's not because people are throwing money at the athletic department. It's because monies become available to athletics that weren't there available before.
Wait, okay.
But Campbell, you were right. When you're winning, everything is better. I'm saying as you win, you 2-0, you're 3-0. Oh, y'all couldn't stay in the hotel last week, but since you're 3-0, y'all can stay in the hotel this week. Oh, we even got money so you can eat breakfast off campus than on campus.
But coach,
what I'm saying
you kind of ask, wait a minute now, coach. Now hold on. See, but it goes hand in hand. When you're winning, things start happening for you. People, alumni start saying, hey, you know what? I'm the manager at this hotel. I'm gonna give y'all 20% so y'all can stay here. I'm gonna make sure. Coach, I've seen it because I'm gonna tell you the reason why. And I'm gonna use Florida A&M. When we won that Celebration Bowl, right? If that AD had put out a QR code, she would have raised $2 million in 2 weeks. I'm telling you what I know. But because she did not have the understanding about fundraising, because coach, that's a talent.
That's a skill.
You losing me, coach. You missing what I'm saying. All this little extra money, you got to invest. You got to invest in trust. That's why it's important on picking who the head coach is. And you got to give him what he needs up off the front of it, on the front end. Then once he wins the championship, he can't pay his coaches. Then again, you go back to cutting him again. But you don't spend all this extra money because you don't roll through the season winning. That money you should have gave it to him on the front side.
Caller, are you live on there?
Be consistently a winner.
Hold on,
that's what I'm saying.
Hold on, let me reconnect you, bro. Hold on.
We got a caller. Rocky. You got a caller, Bishop?
I think so. I think Rocky's getting ready to connect somebody right now. But no, coach, I understand that. Why do people? Because what you said, if you invest up front, the return on investment would be great instead of nickel and diming me and then make it. Well, that's a show and prove.
Can you hear me,
coach?
Coach, it's a school right now, and I told the coaching staff right now are fussing and fighting over.
Hello.
Before they went there, they cut their salaries $100,000.
Okay, I'm gonna bring you in a second.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah. I can. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that can hear you. So turn your background off. Right. Turn your background off so you can hear us on the phone. I'm about ready to bring you in. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I hear him, son.
All right. We got a caller. 5540. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Chuck Hunt calling from Monroe, Louisiana. Good evening to you all. I was just calling. It's interesting. How are you doing, Coach Cole? It's interesting the guest that you all have had on there. Voice. Oh yes, you had Willie Totten on. I watched him play. I was a little one back in the '80s, watching him and Jerry Rice and all those guys. Curtis DeBartoleben and guy from my hometown right here in Monroe, Alvin Calhoun. I see him there. He lives here in Monroe. And there's you coached Leon Murray. I remember Leon Murray when he played at Seabird High School in Shreveport, Louisiana. I watched him play basketball in the state championship team in 1994. They beat up St. Augustine High School, all black male Catholic high school out of New Orleans for the state championship down at LSU. And they hit on his team. His teammate on that Seabird team, they went undefeated during the season. They lost in the playoffs. Was a guy played at Notre Dame named Arnaz Battle. He was the quarterback.
I remember Arnaz Battle.
He ended up becoming, played with the 49ers. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But, I'm not going to stay on long. But that's why I wanted to call it. It was interesting you bring Coach Totten on. Yeah, like I said, it's a long way from Mississippi Valley State. By the way, I have Coach Cooley's book here, The Making of a Football Legend. Archie Gunslinger Cooley. It's an interesting book. Nice photos.
Man, where did you get it from?
I'm gonna land on that one.
Where were you able to pick that book up at?
What I did, I ended up having to order it. I ordered it through, having to order it online through Walmart.
Oh, okay. I'll look that up.
Yes.
I'll look that up. Hey, thank you again, Chuck. We always appreciate you calling in. Chuck.
All right, it's great conversing with you all. Okay.
Chuck.
Yeah, sure, Coach Cole.
Well, how do you feel about Mississippi Valley not hiring Willie Totten as their athletic director? You're a black college guy.
Oh no, I didn't go to the HBCU. My folks did. They went to Grambling. I didn't go to an HBCU, but I do.
Know the history. You know the history.
Oh, that makes me wonder. Yeah, that's a great question. You know, what you all were just talking about is something that you don't do it. I think about the historical white schools, what they do for their alumni players, and that is strange that they didn't put him in positions like that. Honoring, and you have a stadium named after him and Jerry Rice, and it's something is like my mother always says, something's wrong with this picture.
Right. I appreciate it. I appreciate your answer. I feel the same.
Oh
way.
Man, no problem.
All right, thank you.
No problem. It's great conversing with you all as always. You take care.
Thank you for calling in. Nice night. Thank you for calling in, Chuck.
Hey, Campbell.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We got another call,
You
Coach.
ain't saying nothing about my background.
Well, Coach, listen, man.
I'm trying to catch up, man. You got
the Cartiers up there, Coach. The Cartier bus. The whole listen, man. Listen.
I'm working on my background, baby.
Hey, listen. That's Brandon right there, Coach.
Hey, Coach, we got a call 0527. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
All right, thanks for taking my call, man. Hey, this is FAMU KJ.
Hey, what's up, FAMU KJ?
All right, what's up, man? Hey, I was listening to Brother Snake there, Mr. Campbell, asked a question about why is it that we have a lack of for players feeling like they're a part of the former players feeling like they're part of the program, but it's former athletes. But one of the things I saw my man EA comment in the chat. I'm a former Rattler, and one of the things, man, that you cannot do that's so different than what was back in the 80s and 90s was that you had coaches that were there sometimes 7, 8, 9 years, and ADs that were in place for quite a period of time. When you have that, now you have a kind of foundation in which players can reach back, can come up, even coaches reaching out to former players saying, man, come up and talk to the team. When you have turnover, like say, for example, FAMU has had with multiple ADs, again, those people, they have no clue of, say, Jacquez Nunley, who just went in. That like I saw where EA said that, say, OBG, and I don't want to be picking at her, but I'm just saying she has no idea who Jacquez Nunley is. Or if you're talking about, say, a guy like a Gene Atkins or some of these former players that have played and they have no idea. And many of them, like I say, they want to start their own legacy. They're not looking at trying to piggyback on a legacy of a former AD that's almost kind of giving them shine. So they want to come in, get started, start their own legacy. And many of the players are cut off. A perfect example, the national championship team for Florida A&M, those guys are so disconnected from the university. It's ridiculous, man. I've seen guys come up to the university, their trophy pictures, all that kind of stuff is standing there. They won't even let them into the field house. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. And, I know for myself, some other guys, we don't take it. We try to make sure that we, get ourselves in a situation where we introduce ourselves to the coaches or whatever. But you got some of these old schools, you better know who I am. Like I said, I don't know, like coach is a Kappa, right? If Coach came back to the frat house and y'all don't know who he is, it's going to be some problems. So in the same way, you have to make sure that legacy is shown. That's why UM was so powerful back in the day. They made sure that those guys knew who those former Hurricanes were. Those Hurricanes, they came back and they made sure they were invited. When you saw the downfall of UM, it's when they started cutting ties with those guys. The program went downhill. So that's why when you have turnover and you have multiple presidents who wants to do different things a different way, multiple ADs, coaches are fired after 2 or 3 years, you're not going to have that kind of welcoming and you go have guys. And see, this is the other thing, even for recruiting, and I'm going to get off from this one. When you have guys who have been a part of the program, that's your lifeblood a lot of times in the state. So many of those guys go on to be coaches at high schools, assistant coaches that can send you players. But if they feel that they've been disconnected, or they don't have any contact with the program anymore, they go ahead and send the guy somewhere else.
And KJ, don't hang up.
And I've seen that happen.
Don't hang up. I want to ask you a question about that. So what do you, okay, so and I'm gonna speak on family. We'll talk about all ADs. So what do you think? Because I think it's very interesting what you just said about Jaquez Nelson. I think that's a great analogy, right? You got somebody that comes in there and just no disrespect, like they just wouldn't know because they weren't there, right? What do you think about HBCUs with ADs and during football season and basketball season, even baseball season, where it might not be homecoming, but you know how we have high school day, right? And everything. And maybe during high school day, we also have football alumni day. Well, that's the day designated when we bring those guys back, honor them at the, just like what we do at homecoming. And this is the class of this. This is the class of this. This is, and bring them out during home, during the middle of the field and things like that. Do you think that would help? Because I know also FAMU of the Football Alumni Association. So do you think that would help where you say, hey, we've got a game every year where it's for the football or wherever, basketball, to bring them back and there'll be that game? What do you think about that idea?
I think that's an excellent idea, and it's been brought up. Now, here's the issue. That AD has to be willing to go. Is that a priority for you, or is it more so of a priority? Well, yeah, okay, we'll get to it or whatever. And if it's not that AD's priority, or that AD does not have ties to FAMU and understand how important that is, it's going to be on the back burner. Something
KJ.
else, another idea is going to come up.
KJ.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to piggyback off what you said, because what you said is so prevalent and it's so true in Black colleges, and we don't understand. Running an athletic program is like running a relay, but it's not running a relay because of just what you said. We hire outside people sometimes, or we even hire our own that don't understand that you come in and you build off of what the other alumni done. There's got to be some traditions in place. There got to be some seniority in place. There's got to be some people that's been around the program to know. For instance, at Texas Southern, we've changed our logo on our helmet every time we get a new AD. We'll come in and we'll change everything. We never sit down. It's so true that I just had this conversation with somebody on the HBCU Hall of Fame committee, and he brought up the 1978 Florida A&M football team that's not in the Hall of Fame. That's the first Division I AA school and Black school to win a national title. He brought up the 98, 99 Tennessee State football team. They don't understand how important it is to bring history forward and not leave it where it is. And as you say, it's your sounding board. And we as Black folks, we don't understand that.
Coach Cole, let me just say something. Let me
start over. Oh, that's how they used to do it. I'm gonna do it a certain way.
Let me say something, guys. Like at PWIs, at some, because I don't know all of them, they have what's called Letterman's Club, and they're all named something different. Right. But this Letterman Club serves as almost like a concierge service to all the Lettermen that played in all sports at the school. And what I mean by that, you can go through the Letterman's Club to get tickets, gain access to the booth. They have events every home game honoring either a team of another sport or have a luncheon before or during the game. Like they have a particular way in which they honor their past athletes each and every game. It's not
okay. I want to interrupt you right there, Coach.
Go ahead.
I want to interrupt you right there. Those guys, that's been put in place for so long that everybody knows the system. At Black colleges, that ain't that. As an AD,
preach.
You gotta make the past the present. If you want to make some dollars, if you want to get people to come, and we're just not willing to do that, right? We don't do that. Each AD come in with his group of own people, shun everybody else, not necessarily on purpose, because it's a big job. But you got to make it a priority to reach back and bring those teams back. You got to. You got to.
Well,
make
like I say, I've went with several of my friends to the one they have at Baylor, and if it's a 3:00 game, they know to show up at 12. There's a lunch or a brunch there. If it's a morning game, they know to show up at 9. There's a lunch, there's a brunch. You know what I mean? They just, and it's for the letterman and their guests. You know what I mean?
You missing my point though. Every AD that has came in before that started, when that started,
that's not going anywhere.
That's a part of the athletic department, and that is written in stone. No matter who is the AD.
I don't know who funds it. I don't know if it's the athletic department, the alumni association. I don't know who funds it or who puts it together, but it's a part of every game. They have that. And guess what, guys? Here's the reality, KJ. A lot of times those former athletes, some of those athletes become some of the most prominent, successful members of the alumni. And because they were treated well their entire life by FAMU, guess what? They leave when they pass on the glory. They leave FAMU a little bit.
No.
Let me piggyback on that. Let me just piggyback on what you just said. In the last 5 NBA drafts, this is crazy now.
I know he's about to go. Hold on, KJ, wait, let me set this up because I want you to listen to what he's about to say because I know what he's about to say. Listen to this crazy. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. In the last 5 NBA drafts, we have had former FAMU basketball players have sons who have been drafted in the 1st and 2nd round of the NBA draft. And if you talk to them, they will tell you, man, I wanted to send my son to FAMU. Unbelievable, man. Matter of fact, we actually had another guy who had a son who was a 1st-round draft pick out of Alabama to go on. He just got drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the 1st round. He wanted to send his son to FAMU. This is the kind of craziness, man, that we're talking about not being able to connect and keep the former players in lockstep with the program. I mean, the last 5 NBA drafts, man, we've had a guy have a son in those drafts. It's unbelievable, man.
But
unbelievable.
Emmett Jones, that's crazy. Emmett Jones brings up something. It says, Rocky, HBCUs don't have the infrastructure in place like white schools. Again, how much infrastructure do you need to have some chicken nachos and brisket sliders and some Coca-Cola and maybe a couple beers in a suite so the former players can come in early and congregate, tell lies, have the AD speak to them, have the alumni person speak to them, and then the other perk is they get to bring a friend. How much infrastructure do you need to have that?
Well, you need to have it upstairs. You need to have it about your program. It needs to be in place no matter who comes.
They're not feeding them filet mignon.
No matter who comes and take over as an athletic director or as a president or whoever is over a vice president of student affairs, that these things are in place to stay forever. That's who. It's got to be a part of your system in your program.
Hey, I want to jump on something that KJ said because what's crazy now, and I knew where he was going with this, but here's the thing, and Rocky, what you just said about the prominence of these people that play sports. Those guys, and they know this, I got to get this degree because I got to be something. My mama will make sure I get this degree. Now, if I go pro, whatever, which we know it kind of slimmed down. But here's the thing that I think was most important. When you create those connections, and if you know what, even if I know you're going to Alabama, I'm still going to send you a scholarship offer. Just so you know.
Right.
I'm still going to send it to you.
Right.
Just so you know, because you know the one thing I know, and I'm going to tell you the school that does this the best is, and Coach, you know this, is Grambling. Grambling gets more players because of former players than any school in the SWAC. Because their former players are so locked into that school and what that school needs, they will come. And like I said, people, X81 ain't like a great place. But they can get those kids to come because those guys, and KJ knows this, they go and coach, They see other players. They're involved in AAU. They know what the players look like.
Here's an example, Coach. When I was the head coach of Texas Southern, I had 8 kids on my team that fathers that I played with. Whether I gave them a dime or $100 or $200 or $300, because I knew that was important. We had a machine gun killer. The shooter, the shooter that we had led the nation in scoring. His daughter and son came out playing basketball. Did we offer him a scholarship at Texas Southern? We should have found a scholarship to give to them. We don't do a good job of that, man. We don't. We don't do a good job of keeping our athletes around and honoring and respect them. It's a way to do it. I get it. You know what? Somebody gonna jump on here and say, well, you got to buy some tickets. I get that. You do got to sell and buy tickets. But when you look at a 25,000 seat stadium and only 2,500 people in there, there's 23,500 seats available. So you're going to have to make some room for some special people who have given their all to the university. And that's the only way we can turn it around.
Hey, Coach, and this is the thing. Let me just say this much. It can rub people the wrong way, and I'm just going to say this much. If I'm walking around with a hip replacement and a knee replacement or a shoulder replacement from playing football at FAMU, I'm going to have a problem with that. I mean, and I'm being very, very real, because when Jake was talking about blood, sweat, and tears, it's some guys left it there. They left it there. Some guys are still, I wouldn't be surprised, some guys might feel that they might have a little CTE because of the head knocking and everything that was going on out there on those fields. And some guys will take, and I understand what you're saying, but there are some guys who would say, hey man, look at my hands, man. I still can't even make a fist because my knuckles are cracked from out there playing football back in the day. And some guys take that the wrong way when you're telling me I got to buy a ticket and I gave it everything out here. And I'm still suffering from it today.
Why you can't invite the championship track team in 1983 back or 1985 or the football team that won a championship or just play well? I mean, you got to make all
guys,
that.
I'm going to clear the line, let somebody else call in. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah. You know the interesting thing about those Letterman's Club or whatever, B Foundation, whatever they call it. You know the interesting. You know who's mainly there in those suites or at those lunches? The guys that didn't play a lick.
Well, yeah, they're fans.
You know what I mean? The guys that were walk-ons, the guys that were, you know what I mean? But they get to see all the guys that were their teammates occasionally, and they absolutely eat that stuff up, man, because they were part of something. And you guys know at Baylor, some of those teams didn't win. Some of those teams was sorry as hell. But those guys come back and they'll tell you, when did you play? Oh, I played from 2001 to 2005. You know, and then, you know, because I know the history of the school. I know they didn't win a lot. But on Saturday, you can't tell them that, you know, because they have a Baylor degree. They have a connection to the school. They got their kids and their wife in that I guess it's more or less a meeting room. And they're eating pizza and brisket sliders and nachos, and they're having a good time and telling old stories.
Okay, okay, Rocky, we ain't selling Baylor no more.
No, what I'm saying is I don't think that's hard. I don't think that's hard to do for an institution like a FAMU or a TSU or Alabama A&M. I don't think that's a hard lift to have something every home game for those players that lettered in various sports. You're not talking about a large population of people.
Yeah.
Well, Rocky, yeah. I will say this, and again, some of the challenges are just, I think what we want is to always honor and treat our former athletes, our alums, I mean, no matter who they are, very well. What I will say, though, to this, as somebody that has had to organize stuff, it is, I want to tell you this, because I do our class reunions, right, for FAMU, for my class. And, bro, it's a lot of work. It is, I'm going to just tell you something. It ain't just rolling out food and you just showing up. And I'm talking about it starts at 5 in the morning and goes all the way that you got to make sure. So it does require some staffing.
Yeah, of course.
In that. So what I will say, too, is with a lot of our schools that are very stretched thin with athletics, I think that's where it comes to play. That's why I think it's better potentially where you do one game and you have all the guys come back, because you can do that and then you can manage it better.
So to your point, I don't even know how it's funded. I don't know if it's funded by the athletic department or if it's funded by the alumni association. It could be a combination of the two.
I would usually, I'm gonna tell you something. I know for Florida State, it's the Booster Club that pays for that.
It could be the Booster Club as well.
Booster Club pays for that.
Yeah.
They put it all on because the boosters want to meet. Because see, what happens is it's a cycle, right? The Booster Club pay for it because they want to meet these guys, take pictures with them, and that's how they got to make their little handshake money. You know what I mean? Taking pictures. They have all this stuff. I know that's what they used to do with Body Bound. So I don't know what's going on now.
It could be the Booster Club. It could be the Booster Club over there as well. I just know I've accompanied a few of my friends over there.
It's simple, man. It's simple. I mean, I even had every Friday night come up to my suite. If you was alumnus, ex-football player, I would have my suite open from 9 to 11 to come on up and we could talk football, say hello. Shit, people came up, wrote checks, sit down. Had we had what we call a start another year banquet, honor the senior cheerleaders, drummers, and football players. It's just so many things that you could do. But if you don't have that in your repertoire, if you don't think that's important, that's where we get lost at. And then here come another AD. They're gonna start their own stuff. No, I ain't doing that. Then you might hire a bad one. He don't care about but wearing suits. If an athletic director ain't got a bunch of fundraisers going on and he ain't out trying to reach the fallen players or whatever you want to call it, I just don't think he's worth his salt. I think he's sitting on the mountain waiting on you to climb up to the mountain instead of him climbing down and helping you up. I just think that's what those positions are for.
Well, Rocky, I will say this. You know what's pretty cool about the HBC Coaches Corner? We have a lot of ADs that watch this show. And what you're going to find at this time next year, I guarantee you'll see a Paul Bryant, my guy down there at Prairie View, AD Suggs, Ashley Robinson, those guys that are forward thinking and stuff like that. I think Jack State actually does it. So I got to give it. I think they do it.
I imagine they do.
Yeah, I think they're very open and for their
they need to pull out those red seats again. That's what I want them to do.
Pull out the red seats. So now I think.
When I was the head coach, we did what we call a football week. We did something every day. Went to the hospital. We played volleyball. It was kind of like fundraising. We had a toga party. We had a pool party. It was a function all week. That came out my staff. Then we threw my own golf tournament where we went out and raised money and funds and stuff to have the golf tournament. Then we threw the Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame, and we was able to buy the rings and watches. But we went out and raised money and we done that ourselves. It's just things that supposed to go. And I picked a lot of that stuff up from the University of Cincinnati when I was there. But those things happen no matter who is the head coach, who is the AD. These are the things that you need in your program to make everybody feel a part. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Coach, you really hit home with that, Coach. And I don't have nothing else, Coach. This has been a great show. We had the head coach of the DC Defenders on, Shannon Harris. If you guys happen to miss Coach Harris's interview, please go back into the very beginning of this broadcast on the replay, and you'll see a very impressive young man who's the head coach of the DC Defenders. You may, and like Mr. Campbell said, you may even, if you're an AD or somebody in the higher capacity, you may find somebody you might want to put on your short list. But with no further ado, I don't have anything else, Coach. Mr. Campbell, you got anything?
No, man, you know, I did my part. Like I say, man, I just want to thank Coach Cole once again for allowing the opportunity. And I want to thank all the coaches that come on, because it's been a highlight to talk to them. And I want the coaches to know that we're here to support them. We're here to support the schools. And we're always going to try to be a positive light and beacon. So, Coach, you know, thank you for the opportunity. And thanks to the coaches that come on.
Yeah. Hey, again, like to thank my coaching family. All the coaches either have came under me or coached against me or with me. Think most of all the people come and watch the show every week. Continue to watch the show. We're trying to make it bigger and better and make sure that we heard. You know, I think it's very important, you know, that we put our stamp on this game called football and this organization called athletics. Appreciate this opportunity. And like I said, you know, life is good and life is great. It's only great as you want it to be. And sometimes when you hit them lows, but if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, you're tying out and you hold on tight, because ain't nobody